Lesson 17. We're going to continue with the story of Cole's kingdom. In the last part of the story, the chapter Kidnapping, Cole was kidnapped by two people and then their mum discovered him and she was very angry that her children had kidnapped someone. And there was also a little bit of a clue that maybe in the land of Darius not everything is as it seems so far. Maybe the king is not as he seems. So we are going to find out why they kidnapped Cole and what's going on. "Mum, you're not listening," cried Micah. "He's got the seal of Furlin." Remember the seal of Furlin? That's that magical artifact that he gave the king. "Redbush saw him with it in the city. We wanted to." "Redbush? I've told you about that troublesome creature." The woman then turned to Cole and gave him a long, measured stare. He had to tell them. I don't have it," he garbled. I gave it to King Enk." His stomach flicked. For the first time he wondered whether or not he had done the right thing. "You did what?" Look at the word what, how it's in italics. That means that Micah wants to emphasize that. And she says in despair. Despair is like hopelessness, really sad. "You did what?" cried Micah in despair. "Enough," shouted the woman. "Come inside. Micah will unload the cart and brush down the pony, and Piog will cook us some dinner before we all starve to death." "Fish stew," said Piog hopefully. "Grains and black bread as usual. You know that, Piog. There hasn't been anything else to eat since—" "Yeah," said Piog with a reproachful glance at Cole. Reproachful, it's kind of like he blames Cole for something. "I know." He ducked to follow his mother gloomily, that means sadly, through the low doorway into the cottage and beyond. With a little jolt of unease at being invited into a strange house, Cole did the same. A little jolt of unease. Unease is when you feel uncomfortable. A little jolt is like a little shot of electricity, because he feels strange going into this unknown house. The inside of the cottage glowed with warmth and bright colours. Patterned cloth hung from every wall in shades of orange, yellow, pink and brown, giving Cole a surge of warmth and comfort in his weary body. Weary means you're really exhausted after a hard day. A corner of the cottage was marked by an ancient loom. A loom is what they used to weave and make carpets and rugs, where a half-complete tapestry showing a blossom tree sat silent. We've already learnt this word tapestry. A tapestry is a kind of a rug that you hang on the wall, like a painting, but it's a rug. Shelves and niches were crammed with jostling clay, jugs and figures. Low beams crossed the room, hung with herbs and strange implements. At one end, sacks of grain were nestled behind a second loom which held a half-finished rug. At the other end was a low bed covered in a thin, brightly coloured blanket. There were no other rooms, so Cole guessed that this was their kitchen, living room and bedroom all in one. Though it was small, the orange fire roaring in the hearth made the place wonderfully cosy. So this whole paragraph is an excellent description. It really tells you so much about this family. They're not rich because they all live in one room, kitchen, bedroom, living room. Someone's making tapestries on looms. There's herbs and things hanging from the ceiling. So it's almost like an old-fashioned, magical kind of cottage that you would find in fantasy stories. "I am Yognar, and you are most welcome in Furlin," said the woman, bustling into the cottage and poking the fire. "And what shall we call you?" "This is Furlin?" asked Cole, quickly recognising the name. Now remember, the seal of Furlin is the artifact, so the seal is from Furlin. Recognising the name, "I'm Cole," he said, then cursed himself. When you curse yourself, you're angry with yourself for telling the truth. These people had just kidnapped him after all. However, he had no way of knowing the way back to the portal from here. So the portal is the magic door back to Earth, wherever here was. And something about these new acquaintances are people that you meet, fascinated Cole. So he abandoned any remaining urges to run away and took a few steps into the middle of the room. "Nice to meet you, Cole," Yogna was saying. "That pair are my twins, Piog and Micah, and they are going to be in a lot of trouble for what they did to you." So Piog and Mika are twins, but a boy and a girl twins, and they are the kidnappers. But Mum, Peog moaned as Mika reappeared from brushing the pony. I've not mentioned so far, if you don't know, a pony is a small horse. But nothing. You carry on with that dinner and I'll not hear another word about it. Yogna led Cole to the fire and sat him on a colourful rug of orange and pink triangles. All around the small cottage were blankets, needlework, pictures and detailed tapestries showing images of great battles. In fact, they were identical to the style that Cole had seen in King Enk's palace. Each picture had the strange look of being three-dimensional, as though it would be easy to step through the fabric into the world beyond. Yogna caught him looking. I make them for the king. So that's interesting. Yogna is making tapestries that are kind of magic. Remember, they move when you look at them, and those are the same as the ones that were in the king's palace. So we're already starting to get to know a little bit about the people who are living in this land, and I've got a feeling Yogna is going to reveal to Cole a bit more about what might be going on in this magical land. So, I don't have it, he garbled. I gave it to King Enk. His stomach flipped. For the first time, he wondered whether or not he had done the right thing. What piece of evidence tells us that Cole is nervous in this extract? There's actually a couple there. So, press pause and find me a piece of evidence that shows that Cole is nervous. Okay, so his stomach flipped. Think about a burger or an egg or a pancake in a pan and you flip it over. When your stomach flips, when your stomach does somersaults, it's because you're feeling nervous. Also, he stutters. I don't have it. The word garbled is when you mix your words up. So you could say that he mixed his words up, he garbled, he stuttered, or his stomach flipped. All of those tell us that he's nervous. The inside of the cottage glowed with warmth and bright colours. Patterned cloth hung from every wall in shades of orange, yellow, pink and brown, giving Cole a surge of warmth and comfort in his weary body. Find and copy the word closest in meaning to tired. Press pause while you do that. Okay, so the synonym for tired is weary. If you are weary, you are tired. Yogna led Cole to the fire and sat him down on a colourful rug of orange and pink triangles. All around the small cottage were blankets, needlework pictures and detailed tapestries showing images of great battles. In fact, they were identical to the style Cole had seen in King Enk's palace. Each picture had the strange look of being three-dimensional, as though it would be easy to step through the fabric into the world beyond. Find and copy the word closest in meaning to pictures. Press pause while you do that. Okay, so the word closest in meaning to pictures is images. That's the end of today's guided reading lesson, and I will see you next time when we continue Cole's Kingdom in Lesson 18.